rejoice, all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, and darkness tries to hide, and trembles at his voice, trembles at his voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God, and all will see how great is our God. Age to age he stands, and time is in his hands, beginning and the end, beginning and the end. The Godhead three in one, Father, Spirit, and Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God, and all will see how great is our God. Name above all names, worthy of our praise, and my heart will sing how great is our God. Name above all names, worthy of our praise, and my heart will sing how great is our God. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God, and oh, see how great is our God. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God, and oh, see how great is our God, and oh, see how great.
It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the team here at the Foundation for Lifelong Learning to share with you what we consider here the good news, the High School Diploma Equivalency Program. When you hear of the HSDE, I want you to remember three things: creating access, establishing pathways, and providing support. The minister, back in about 2 years ago, gave us a ministerial mandate, and he said, refocus, reposition, re-energize, and rebrand yourselves so as to effectively and consistently deliver on a literacy renaissance. I'm of the view that what he was really calling us to do is to draw on our legacy, as in the 1970s, where the Jamaican, for Jamal was a part of a major social transformation at that time. He was calling on us to be a part of a major social transformation for the 21st century. Some statistics have already been presented, so I will not spend too much time on setting the context. However, what I will therefore do is to share with you what the high school diploma equivalency program is all about. And I have now presented for you the overview of the presentation. First and foremost, the high school diploma equivalency program is an alternate path to general education for adult learners ages 17 and older. But as we have been advised through much of our correspondence from in the field, that we do have a very, very large portion of 15-year-olds. And so we've been asked to continue to take them in until we have been further advised by the Ministry of Education. The focus of the program is on two key parts. One, on adult basic education, which is primarily looking at mastery in literacy and numeracy, and adult secondary education, focusing on the high school equivalency program. We like the idea of thinking with the end in mind, and as such we have here developed what we consider the profile of the 21st century Jamaican adult learner. It's one who is trainable, conscious and aware of civic responsibilities, one who has the potential to achieve their goals and self-actualize. This individual is one who is knowledgeable and skilled, but also marketable locally, regionally, and internationally. The philosophy, purpose, and learning outcomes of the high school diploma equivalency program, I've gone ahead to emphasize some very key words to us or for us. The philosophy of the program is to transform the lives of adults through the provision of quality, relevant, and adult-centered learning opportunities. It's to inspire a commitment to lifelong learning. Purpose, engage and motivate the adult learner to pursue and achieve significant personal, academic, and professional goals, and in so doing, develop the attributes and competencies required for them to succeed in the 21st century environment. At the end of this experience, they can expect to progress towards fulfilling their goals and their potentials, be prepared for effective participation in the workplace and in their communities. And one that I think is what education is about, is to manage their lives, their personal lives, and display initiative confidently as they go about their daily tasks. It's one thing to develop a program, it's another to assess and evaluate impact. And as such, we have devised three key elements that we will be using to evaluate our impact. One is to increase adult literacy rates, as we have been mandated by the Education for All goal number 4. The targets that we will be looking at in those areas are enrollment, attendance, student gains and outcomes. Improve access to quality education in literacy, numeracy, and life skills according to the Education for All goal 6. And in doing so, we'll be focusing a lot of attention on improving or increasing and improving the pool of adult facilitators. As a matter of fact, we have 205 of our adult facilitators, parish managers, and field officers at the university right now who are engaged in what we call the Summer Institute, aka boot camp. And number 3, it's to expand access to adult learning opportunities through partnerships locally, regionally, and internationally. I'd like to now to give you an opportunity to explore with me or to highlight with you what the aspects of the high school diploma equivalency program is comprised of. There are 3 levels. The basic level, which is equivalent to grades 1 through 6, the intermediate, equivalent to grades 7 to 9, and the proficiency, equivalent to grades 10 and 11 or formal system. The subjects to be engaged at the basic level are outlined. The certification at the end of this process is the grade 6 standard certification, and the level of engagement for an academic year at this level is 800 hours. At the intermediate level, the subjects are highlighted. The certification are 2 levels, the grade 9 standard certification, which will obviously, well, for us, signal the readiness of our learners to transition seamlessly to HEART NTA for further studies in technical and vocational education. And as such, they will be able to, at the end of this process, leave with their NVQJ or their CVQJ, again, at their choice. The number of hours to be engaged at this level is 1,200 hours. Similarly, the subjects at the grade 10 or the proficiency level are outlined, and the learner will be able to qualify for the high school diploma equivalency program, provided that they pass all 5 subjects at the CSEC level. The number of hours to be engaged is again outlined as in 1,200 hours. The pathway, which is what this whole program is about. Remember I said when you think of the high school diploma equivalency program, we are providing access, establishing pathways, and providing support. Let's say you have a young man or a young woman who has just left school, unfortunately, who has had very limited success. At the foundation, through the program, they have an option to access a menu of different subjects. And so through placement and diagnostic, they will be placed at either the basic, intermediate, or the proficiency levels. At the end of each of the level, let's say for example at the basic level, the learner will leave, or they choose to go to the world of work. But because we have a very flexible exit and re-entry process, because we are after all encouraging lifelong learning, this learner can come back to transition to the intermediate level. At which time they will, of course, as I mentioned earlier, be engaged in the CCSLC syllabus and also other competency-based syllabi. Upon completion, they can again either go to the world of work or re-enter to go to the HEART NTA for further studies in technical and vocational education. And of course, again, because we are encouraging lifelong learning, we would inspire them to go towards the proficiency level, which, as I said earlier, upon the successful completion or passing of the 5 CXCs, they would then qualify for their high school diploma equivalency. Now, the instructional schedule is as follows. I'm just going to use one example for you. At the basic level, which is an academic year, as a matter of fact, one of the things we have now announced is that schooling for us will not be according to the 3 terms as we have been used to in the formal sector. However, it will be offered all year round. 40 weeks of instruction. 40 weeks of instruction. And so we have broken down for you the number of hours that the learner will be engaged for the week, and of course how it will be broken out according to what we call the quadmesters. Now, in terms of the instructional support, we are pleased to announce that we have just completed, the team here at JFLL, we have just completed the rewrite of the 40-year-old curricula that we have been using. So we now have a revised adult basic and secondary education curricula in mathematics, or the competencies in mathematics, competencies in English language, and life skills. We are also being supported with appropriate learning materials and test assessment from McGraw-Hill, who has about 80 years of experience in adult education at this level. We have also been able to develop for ourselves a robust and dynamic digital platform which will be able to deliver the high school diploma program. Let's say we have a grandmother in Prickly Poll who is unable to come to one of our centers. As long as she's savvy in technology and has access to the internet, she can enroll and of course experience the high school diploma program. Yay! We also have identified a school management system which will help us to track. Minister has been saying to me, I need my numbers. It's not just in terms of the attendance or those who come in, but we also want to ensure that when our learners come in, they learn and achieve. And so we have established a school management system that will assist us in meeting those targets. Now, people will be asking, how much does it cost? Well, I can say that the program is highly subsidized, and when compared to the other fees in the market, you are in for a steal or a deal. Is that it? Steal deal? At the basic level, as I said, we have outlined for you what the subjects are, the certification and the number of hours. It is $12,000 for the academic year, and not just that you're paying, it's actually your contribution. When we looked at the per student cost, it's actually $35,000 that a learner would have to pay, the real cost for the program, but they're being asked to simply make a contribution of $12,000 or $1,000 a month towards their education. But look at what it is that they get for free. Placement and diagnostic. Exams fee free, learning materials free, and access to the learning platform? Absolutely. Absolutely free. All right. Also, no, as I said, I've outlined for you the other levels, which I do not need to go through. $15,000 at the intermediate and $15,000 at the proficiency. But please note that there are additional costs for the exams fees for CXC that will apply. Now, as I said earlier, some of our teachers and facilitators, along with field officers and or research persons, are actually at the University of the West Indies as we speak in the first of our inaugural summer institutes, where they have been immersed in the new curricula. They are being immersed into the practices and principles of andragogy, or how best to teach or adults, and also to identify some of the learning disabilities or challenges that they will face in the classroom. They're also being immersed in understanding what are some of those principles or the attributes of an effective school, so that when we roll out, our learners can have some guaranteed standards about ensuring or about having a quality education that is relevant to their experience. As a part of the mandate from the minister, he also asked us to see how best we can rationalize our efforts to become more efficient and to improve quality outcomes. And as such, the organization embarked on an audit of our facilities. And while we were asked to rationalize, physically, our plants will be decreasing. However, through some very, very creative and strategic partnerships, we're actually expanding our reach across the island. And as such, the model that will go forward is to have 6 regional offices and 14 parish offices. However, we have some business models that will assist us in expanding our reach. There's a multi-purpose learning center in which we'll be engaging or partnering with schools, community colleges, teachers' colleges, and other learning sites within our communities to ensure that we are able to take the high school diploma equivalency program to where people live, move, and have their being. And some of the partnerships I should also speak to as we roll out in terms of our models are, as I said earlier, through the community-based organizations, the faith-based organizations who have had a very, very rich part of our culture here at the foundation, but also through the libraries who have given us access to their 121 networks, which will give us reach into some of our remote rural areas. How can the program be accessed? 3 key ways: through our adult learning centers, 28 sites island-wide, through our workplace and community-based education and training unit, and also through our CAP program, particularly for our the general students. Year 1 implementation of the high school diploma program is as follows. As was mentioned earlier, we'll be phasing out the product in 2 main cycles. One, we'll be piloting across these parishes for the September to March period. Following the March to August period, we'll then go to all 14 of the sites that will be established. In the interim, while some of the sites are transitioning into their new locations, work will continue as expected, and therefore none of our centers will be closed. No one will be turned away. In addition to the sites that will be, or the adult education sites that will be piloted, we've also included 5 of our workplace and community-based projects, and also selected CAP institutions. The intake process, starting today, officially we will be taking in registration, and as a matter of fact, registration actually has started way back, if I'm not mistaken, Mrs. Tyrrell, sometime last year, because we do have waiting lists right now. So officially, registration begins today. Assessments will commence August 15th. As I said, we are actually now in the process of being trained in the new test assessment. And orientation, in other words, ring-a-ring-a-ling, school begins September 1st, 2014. Now, this is very, very important for us, as the chairman spoke earlier, that a lot of times for us when we go abroad, unfortunately, or having had a background of education here, when going abroad, it's sometimes very, very difficult for us to transition into those societies. Myself being an example, born in Canada, grew up here, completed my CXCs, went back to Canada. Upon entering high school there, I was told that I had to repeat grade 11 because I did not speak English. I had an accent, and therefore having an accent meant that I could not, I would have to redo the class. In addition to that, unfortunately, my mother, who was a teacher here for 25 years, could not get a job when she went back to Canada with us. And I saw how depressed she got from not being able to help her children be able to sustain themselves in a new society. And as such, it became very, very important for me in going back on the study tours to ensure that there was a pathway for our learners when they leave here. I'm so, so happy to know also that we have Jamaicans in very, very high places. I tell you, God has been giving us some amazing favor through, for example, Superintendent Mills. When I called her and was sharing with her about the program, it was almost, it was magical when she said to me, and by the way, I'm Jamaican, as she was sharing with us yesterday. I shouted on the phone, and I'm so sorry, I hope I didn't disturb the office at that time. But what they have said to us is that our learners who graduate with the high school diploma equivalency program will automatically qualify for a New York City high school diploma. She has also said that when our learners, we must ensure that when they're leaving, to advise them that they must come to her, because she will then be the pathway for them to transition in their new society. George Brown and also the Ontario Ministry of Education has advised us that with the qualification of the HSDE, out of the 30 credits that they would require to get an Ontario secondary diploma, they can get a maximum of 20 with the high school diploma equivalency program, which means they do not have to start over, and their work in school will obviously be reduced. In addition to that, while they're completing their high school diploma equivalency program, they are also going to be enlisted or admitted to amazing colleges like George Brown, where they can do dual credits. So while completing their secondary high school diploma equivalency program, they're also getting the experience of a pre-college or pre-university life. And similarly, University of Toronto, my alma mater, had advised that they have what they call an abridged program for learners who are 19 years and older. Again, they can come while completing their Ontario secondary credits. They can engage or enroll in what they call a pre-university study, and they also get funding. They get funding while they're completing their education. In other words, a pathway has been established for our learners. These entities have also said to us, however we can help you, just let us know. And so the areas that they have identified is continued technical support, continued capacity building, continued exploring the opportunities of twinning of our adult education centers with their centers, for example, in Queens, and doing digital projects again through the digital platform. So many opportunities lie ahead of us. And of course, faculty and student exchanges where appropriate. In concluding, I'd just like to say, if you have a need to get a better education, to get a better job, to help your child in school, a very, very dear aspect to my heart, but simply to read your Bible, come check us out at the Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning. You can contact us at the nearest JFLL office or call us 928-5138. It will be our pleasure to serve you. After all, we are in the business of changing lives forever.